Hi there, welcome back to your TimeShift training, and at this point we've touched on psychology, a little bit of psychology, and also a little bit on the purpose side, the meaning side. So hopefully you've spent a little bit of time on that 3-year vision question, and again, it's a process, it's not a definitive exercise and just a one-off thing. For me, I'm always looking at that question, and especially if you're doing it for the first time, it's very important to review it a lot over the next couple of weeks, because even by brainstorming a picture, it'll start to give you some clarity. What we're going to look at now is a really critical part, I think, of managing your time that's completely usually overlooked. And it's really, I suppose, in essence, about managing your energy. And the P that you can see there on screen is power. So power that you have, that you can generate to get the results that you want in your career, in your business, and in your personal life. And essentially, it's about how you use the energy that you generate, first of all. How do you generate better energy, and then how do you use that constructively, which is really what TimeShift is about. And one of the key principles, and I suppose the second principle I'm going to flag to you here now, is the secret to managing your results starts with managing your energy. So think about that. If you're in good energy or good food, good form or good mood, your energy is generally pretty high. Think about what you're like. Your communication is generally pretty good. Your spirits are generally up. You're generally more optimistic. Problems that generally are hanging around when you're tired that can bother you don't seem to bother you in the same way when your energy is up. You're also, your outlook is generally much better, and you're much better to actually come up with ideas for the future, or especially solutions to existing problems. So that's why sometimes even just a good night's sleep can be a simple way to solve a lot of your problems, bizarrely. So a lot of people, especially if they're today, busy senior level in business or even running their own business, a big mistake they can make is completely ignore their own energy and really just keep going with the long hours and trying to fix problems. And no, I'll take a break when I solve all this. Now, to be fair, sometimes you have to just, I suppose, in a short burst, have to attack problems, and that may affect sleep, and that's reality. But sometimes you're better off just looking at the simple areas that actually have a big impact on your energy, and certainly in that one, sleep will be a biggie. But there are lots of different areas that we're going to touch on that do impact your energy. But I just want you to kind of ask yourself as you're watching this, like, what is your energy like out of 10? Over the last month, how would you score your energy? And what I'm going to say to you is, if it's less than 8 out of 10, then we need to figure out how to get it back up. So for me personally, I'm continuously asking myself, even during the day or during the week, what's my energy like out of 10? And if it goes below 8 out of 10, I have to take a corrective action, because I know for sure if I'm at 8 out of 10 or above that, as I said earlier on, my mindset's better, my performance is better, my results are better, my thinking is better. So very often, sometimes I might do the complete illogical thing and just stop working, go for a walk to clear my mind, or go for a hike, or just take a break, go for a cup of tea, go for a cup of coffee, or even something else, which we're going to fire some ideas at you. So on a simple level, though, I want to flag that you are an instrument of creation. And what I mean by that is, we are hardwired as humans to create. Not necessarily creativity, well, I would see it as creativity, but some people confuse creativity with artistry, like a painter or a writer. Obviously, they're creative acts. But I see business in particular, and also the ability to create a life that you want. That's a fulfilling life, that's an exciting life. That's a skill, but we are hardwired for success. Our brains and our immune systems are built and engineered to achieve goals. But most people don't really understand how that works. And they don't know how to get the best use out of themselves or their minds. But as I see it in terms of your energy and your power, there's 4 key areas that are within your focus area to help you here. So if, for example, your energy is off or you want to improve it, what are the areas you look at? Here are the 4. The first one is the mind. The second one is the body, physical. The third one is your emotional state. And the fourth one is spirit. And I'll explain each one of these here as we go through it. You'll see there that Niart is the Gaelic word, an Irish word meaning strength or vital energy. And I suppose I call this particular graphic, which you're free to use, as the Niart. I call it the Niart star. The North Star is that kind of star that is up in the sky that a lot of people use, especially navigation or sailing, for direction. So it gives you direction. The North Star is a version of that, but it's an Irish word, which essentially is about your vigor, your vitality, your energy, your power. So this is the North Star, or you can call it the Power Star. But if you look at the mind, obviously the mind is to do with, well, what's my state of mind like? What am I saying to myself? What's my internal dialogue saying about this situation, about the goals that I'm trying to achieve? Is my inner voice doubting it? Is it blocking it? Is it sabotaging me? In a sporting context, the psychology of achievement is hugely important and real, and that's becoming much more usable and validated in a business and personal context as well. So we will be coming back to this later on, so don't worry about the detail of it just now. The body is the physical, so that's to do with, as I said earlier on, for example, your sleep. Sleep is critically important. Some people are seemingly able to operate on 4 to 5 hours of sleep a night. I'm not, and most people I know in terms of my clients, people I work with, are not. People who do that are generally anomalies. They can do it, but they're not the norm of the population. And certainly science would back up that sleep is becoming increasingly valuable and critical in terms of getting good performance for yourself, out of yourself. And generally the recommended time to go to bed is actually 10 p.m, get up at 6 a.m, even if you're a night owl. But we will come back to that again. Your exercise is important. These days, in my mind, if you don't have a specific exercise routine, doing something a minimum of 3 times a week, you're asking for trouble in terms of your energy. It's just you're not going to get the best out of yourself. And, if you look at a sporting context, even say for golfers, pre-Tiger Woods in 1997, exercise and nutrition wasn't on the agenda. Tiger Woods came on, and regardless of whatever your view of him is in terms of what he's done since, particularly in his personal life, certainly he changed the standard of the game, and he is an all-time great in terms of what he achieved. Nowadays, if you're in a golfing context, if you don't have a mind psychologist, if you don't have a personal trainer, go to the gym, have a nutritionist, you're kind of looked at as not taking your career seriously in a sporting context in golf. And I believe the same change has to happen in business. So whatever works for you in terms of your energy, because it's the end result here to get you 8 out of 10, you need to have some sort of dedicated exercise routine. If you don't, I'm going to encourage you to actually look at one, especially to start it now in this program. On the emotional side then, the emotional side to me would be more probably to do with, could be to do with previous trauma or pain, which also hits off in the mental side, or it could be more to do with existing relationships. So for example, there's nothing like a problem in a relationship, whether it's professional relationship, or a personal relationship in terms of a loved one at home or a family member. If you're off in any one of those areas, it can have a huge impact on your energy. And I know plenty of people who are very strong mentally, very strong on the body and physical, but their energy is just off. And when we get into it, very often the problem is actually in this area, which is on the emotional side, generally to do with an unresolved issue with a core relationship that's in their life. And generally it's enough to kind of be aware of it and then maybe tackle the problem themselves. Or if you don't feel that you can do that, very often it's helpful to go and get some professional assistance, like talk to a counsellor or a therapist, whatever helps you unblock what could be affecting your energy. Again, worth looking at. And then the fourth one is spirit. And I don't mean, especially as an Irish person, not these days anyway, I don't mean religion. What I'm talking about is that your own inner spirit, your own sense of, I suppose, that light that's inside you, whatever that means to you. But certainly if you think about it, that phrase, oh, he's got great spirit, or she's got great spirit, or when she comes into the room, she just lights it up. It's like, what kind of energy or spirit is coming out of you? Where is it? Are you even aware of it? What's your own vibration or energy like? Are you a spirited person? Are you generally optimistic? When you walk into a room, do people welcome your energy? Are you somebody who is perhaps taking energy? Where's your energy at? So again, I will come back to these in terms of a little bit more detail. But those 4 areas, if your energy is less than 8 out of 10, as I said, I would encourage you to kind of think about this over the next week, just the next week, and say, okay, where's my energy every day out of 10? If it's less than that for whatever reason, look at different simple areas you can actually fix or change just by going through the mind, the body, emotional, and spirit. Those 4 areas, generally you'll find 1 or 2 things you can actually change or tweak. So what I'm going to ask you to do now is, you'll see attached with this video is a simple 1-page assessment that I call the NYART assessment. after this North Star. And you'll see there's 4 different questions or statements attached with each of the 4 categories. All I want you to do is very simple, is take some time out now, score yourself on that sheet, and just follow the instructions on the page in terms of just noting which areas need more attention than others. So if you just pause the video right now, and then in a minute we're going to come back. I've got a simple exercise to do afterwards. Just pause the video right now. Okay, welcome back. So you could just completed that NIART assessment. You've got numbers on the page for each of the columns. And also, I just want you to look at, you've totaled up different scores at the bottom of the page. I just want you to keep this very simple and just focus on maybe 1 to 2 things as actions that you're going to take out of that assessment for yourself. So if you're with somebody else there even doing this assessment, you might even just discuss it with each other in terms of what the other person has got and what you're going to focus on, just to help with some clarity and accountability. So, but what are the 1 or 2, maybe 3 max actions you're going to take to improve your energy, your NIART, over the next 7 days? So decide what that is now and note that in your notebook that you're using for the TimeShift. Okay? Right, we're going to stop it there. And what we're going to do in the next video is I'm going to talk to you about a very simple but very powerful analogy for your mind that I'd like you to consider over the next few weeks. Okay? Thank you.